I have a lot of communities to advocate for as well, the amputee community, the Indigenous community, and the deaf community, and women out there too. There's so much communities I love representing for, but I'm very proud to be making history and having these moments on this journey.
Thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Whenever I have actors, I always like to start by asking how they got into acting. And I know Echo is your first professional job, but were you someone who did school plays? Were you, always kind of an actor or something you always wanted to do?
Honestly, acting was not on my radar. I was involved in a high school play, but I was in the background. It was a very short role. I was involved maybe in 2 plays throughout high school. That was about it. And I remember growing up watching movies with my dad, he is such a big Marvel fan. And I remember watching these movies and wondering what it would be like to be an actor. But I never thought of myself as that. I always thought, what would it be like? Hawkeye was my first acting role. And it was, of course, my first professional role as well. It's just so crazy because I remember when seeing the casting call sheet for a deaf Indigenous women in their 20s, and I had a bunch of people that were saying, this looks like you, or this represents you. And then I decided to try out for it. And we had, during COVID, there was Zoom auditions that we had. It was about 5 or 6 auditions. And 3 months later, I ended up getting the role. And the rest is history.
I'm sorry, we have to acknowledge the adorable dog in the background. Is that yours?
Oh no, I wish it was my dog. This dog is so sweet. This is my hairstylist Brian's dog. She's the cutest thing ever.
I was about to call her a good boy, and then I realized she might be a girl, but all dogs are good boys to me.
Yeah, she's very sweet.
Little bit of a scene
We'll
steal.
have to excuse the baby crying in the background if you do hear my son.
Oh, I didn't even hear that, but I did hear you're a new mom. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I love being a mom.
Oh, what a year. So you mentioned people sent you the casting notice for Echo. Had you ever heard of this character, especially with your father as a Marvel fan? Did you know about Echo?
No, I was not familiar with Maya until I got the role. But yeah, I did read some of her comic books, not a lot, but when I did read them, of course, they were very interesting stories, and I'm very happy to be able to bring her to life. It's interesting that her character in the comic books does not have an amputated leg, but I do. And so they were able to accommodate to myself and my persona. So I think that it was great that they were able to do that.
I'm curious, since I don't think you'd ever auditioned before for anything, what did the initial audition consist of? Was it something you videotaped and sent in, or something you did live over Zoom?
The whole audition process was on Zoom because it was COVID during that time and everything was shutting down. The world, of course, shut down, as we all know. So everything was all online. And I remember videoing myself running, doing sprints, and having, one-on-one dialogue script. I think they gave me a script of a man and a woman, and they are fiancés, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I did use my fiance as well when we were doing the script, but we had to vibe off each other and send in that kind of film. But I remember at that time, I was very tan at that time. I am not as light-skinned as I am currently, but that took about 3 months long to do that process. And then I finally got the role. And I remember that day very well. It was September 1st. And that's when I found out that I did get the role. There was 12 people on a Zoom call, and the, Marvel president, Kevin Feige, everybody was clapping their hands using the American Sign Language applause, and they said, "Welcome to the MCU." And that's how I knew.
That's amazing. So your fiance at the time acted opposite you in those scenes?
Yes, he did. He acted opposite of me. It was a couple times that he had to act with me, yes.
Is he an actor, or was he sort of bit by the bug during this experience?
Oh no, he is not an actor at all. No. He's a huge MCU fan, though.
But he made a good scene partner.
Yes, he did. Right. Yeah. Thanks. So a lot of thanks goes to him.
So once you had the role, from what I understand, I don't know if you wanted to do your own stunts or you heard you'd be doing your own stunts. Where did you even begin with the physical preparation?
I already love doing a lot of physical activity. I was raised in different kind of sports, dancing, volleyball, basketball, all of that. So, and I also have an older brother who's a year and a half older than me, and he is an athlete as well. He was a basketball high school star, and he taught me a lot of tough things as well. We had a basketball court in my backyard of my parents' house, so we would always play one-on-one all the time, and we were so physical against each other. And one of those times actually ended up putting me in the hospital. So that's how tough we were. So I knew I wanted to do all the stunt work, but I've always loved doing all physical activities. And when I got the role of Echo, they said that there will be a lot of stunt work involved. And I said, that's great. I'm ready for it. I love doing this kind of stuff. And so, of course, that was nice to prepare for that. We had choreography that I had to memorize, and that was different. And I enjoyed learning with the stunt team as well. They're such nice people. And they were so happy and willing. They were very patient with me as well. With the choreography, sometimes it was challenging at times. And a lot of people thought that I was in karate previously or martial arts or something. And I said, no, I've never done any previous experience with those. But it's kind of nice that they say that. But it was very fun. And I'm lucky that I was raised physically training myself to prepare for this role as well.
I'm sorry, did you say you put your brother in the hospital or he put you in the hospital playing basketball?
I put myself in the hospital technically because I got so frustrated with my brother. He was beating me in basketball so bad, and the ball rolled underneath a trailer. It was an AV it was a stall trailer. And so I grabbed the ball underneath it and I bonked my head on the top of the trailer and I cut my head open and I was bleeding. So I went to the hospital for that. So it was technically on myself. I was so frustrated, but he kind of did it. He's very competitive. We both are.
I relate to this. And this is why my brother and I only play ping pong, because even that gets violent enough and we don't need anything more.
I've played that before too.
So how else did you prepare for the actual character, especially having never been in front of a camera before? Did you work with an acting coach? Did you, just sort of take advice from anyone? Did you, maybe you studied other actors on camera?
Kind of all the above. I did have a acting coach that was deaf, which was so nice. Her name was Sandra Mae Frank. She is so nice. Her being deaf herself, and she has such amazing experience with acting on film and on stage. And so I got a lot of advice from her. I also sat with director Sydney Freeland, and we sat in her office for pre-production before we started filming. And we would sit and talk about Maya and how to develop her character. Because I was so new, Sid taught me a few things. We developed her character, we talked about her storyline, and we kind of did a huge deep dive into her life. And we rehearsed lines and all that stuff. So I got a lot of help from a lot of people, the acting coach as well. I studied the script and studied other people on screen. All of that put together, that did help me prepare to become Maya.
At the same time, I don't think there's any way to really prepare someone for their first time in front of a camera, especially on something like this, when there's, it might be like 3 inches away from your face. What was it like, learning the technical side, having a camera right there, hitting your mark, things like that?
Honestly, I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. I remember they said, okay, I thought it was just kind of like, I thought you just go and act, but no, you have to be on specific marks. You have to be careful of where your eye line is. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much more technical things and layers to acting I never thought of. It was very tough. I think I picked it up pretty quickly though. And I remember when they wanted close-ups on the camera, it literally, like you said, a few inches away from me, and it felt so weird. And I didn't know about the repetitiveness. I did not know we had to do things a lot over and over and over. I thought it was maybe 2 or 3 times, but more so, it was more like 6 or 7 to 10 times. I had a big crash course when I started my first job, but I'm very grateful I'm able to pick it up pretty quickly with all of this amazing coworkers that I had and all the support I had.
And Maya is obviously very serious. She's carrying a lot of emotion. She's been through a lot. Was that a hard place for you to put yourself emotionally?
Yeah, it was definitely difficult. It was very much a challenge. I had another interview this morning with kind of a similar question, but I tried to embrace her emotions, and it was so challenging. She is a complicated person as well. So, her being in New York City, being raised there, she had a horrible adopted father that she learned a lot of bad things from. He's a criminal lifestyle. But then when she goes back to Oklahoma, that's where she's trying to reconnect with her indigenous roots and her biological family. And so it's just a very complicated situation she's in. And it's hard because she is so emotional and she's full of rage. She always wants revenge. And I am personally not like that in real life. So it's just tough to play her sometimes. But having a lot of help from the acting coach and practicing and getting a deep dive into her emotions, that'll help me figure out who and why she is based on her emotions. And that helps me become her when I have to act as her. So yeah, it was tough.
Did you have hit upon a method to sort of help you prepare for the emotional scenes? Like I always, go watch a sad scene from a movie or, read a sad book or something. I mean, I don't have to do what you have to do, but if I have to be in that mindset.
Unfortunately, as a new actor, because I usually apply real life real life events that have happened in my life to help me become emotional in those scenes that are needed for those certain types of emotions. So when I would get the script, they would say, okay, we're going to work on the emotional crying scenes because we're happening the next day. And I would say, oh crap, I don't want to be sad the next day, because I always apply those sad things that I have to think about during acting with my real life situations. So I hopefully later I can find another method and not have to make me sad thinking about my real life situations or experiences.
That's a good one, though. I mean, for me, I just always think about something bad happening to my dog, and I can, go there instantly. I shouldn't laugh. That's terrible. I'm just saying it's weird how we
Right.
traumatize ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't believe this is your first acting role, because you are more than holding your own against greats like Vincent Nfo, who I, think is one of our greatest living actors. I don't know how familiar you were with his work, but he plays a lot of intimidating characters. Were you at all, intimidated?
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh. I was blown away by him. I absolutely love him so much. He's so amazing. It's weird though, because off camera, he's such a nice person. He's not like his character, thank goodness, of course, but it's just an honor to be able to work alongside him. And after hearing all of the nice things that he says about me, I always go, oh my gosh, I could melt. He's just so nice. It's such an honor to work with him. And it could be very challenging, of course, too, because we have a lot of emotional scenes together as Maya and Kingpin, and he doesn't sign. So I don't know when his lines are done. So we had to think of a device to use with the interpreters, and we had a vibration device that would go underneath my shirt, and the interpreter would hit the remote to let me know when his lines were done. So that was difficult though, because I had to focus on the scene and focus on my emotions and on all the acting I was doing. So it was distracting when I would feel that vibration, but I would have to stay composed and stay in the character and move along with it. So it was tough, but it was a lot of balls to juggle at that moment. But it's very much an honor to work with Vincent as well.
I mean, acting is hard enough. I can't imagine all these technical things thrown in on top of it. Hitting your mark, knowing when someone else's line is done. It's so impressive to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh gosh, thank you.
And I do have this theory that sometimes you have to get the nicest people to play the most horrible characters, because you can have a separation. You can be like, okay, we're done. If a terrible person was playing a terrible character, it'd be too real.
Yes, absolutely, for sure.
I also love Maya's scenes with her grandmother, and you're acting opposite another legend with Tantu Cardinal. I mean, I'm sure you were familiar with her work. What was it like to get to share scenes with her?
Oh, I loved working with all the Indigenous people on set. It felt like home. I feel like our ancestors are watching us and they're so proud of us. Our people are being able to work together on set and bring in authentic representation on the screen, especially in the MCU, which is one of the biggest franchises. It's really an honor to work with Tam too. My mom and my grandmother are a huge fan of her. I asked for her autograph for my grandmother, and my grandma was so happy. And I got Graham Greene and Tantu's both of their autographs. So they are just both legends.
I mean, I would say as a new actor, but honestly, I think this is hard for an actor on any level. Are you sometimes in a scene and you kind of like have to say, oh my God, I'm acting opposite Vincent D'Onofrio? And do you forget where you are? I acted one time with someone and they were so good. I stopped the scene and said, oh, you're really good. You know?
Yeah. Sometimes I have to pinch myself and say, whoa, like they are so much more experienced than me, and they've been in this industry for such a long time. So the bar is set very high, but somehow they made me feel very equal. They gave me tips and pointers, but it always was positive, and it felt like we were on the same spectrum. But sometimes I definitely did feel those pinch me moments standing across from other actors.
What was some of the best advice you've gotten, either from them or anyone about acting?
Oh gosh, simple answer. Sydney, my director, she always said, have fun. For example, when we were doing a scene, she would give me notes on directions of what she wanted me to do. And then she would say, do whatever you want, have fun. And I would say, okay, do whatever I want. I liked having my freedom after each scene. That was very nice. It's a very simple thing to tell somebody, but have fun. That's probably some of the best advice that I was given.
So it was fun because it looks like fun, but I also know it's hard work.
Yes, absolutely. It's a mix of both. Yes.
You touched on, the representation and Maya is just such a badass. What does it mean to get to represent, the deaf and Indigenous communities? Have you seen like little girls dressing up like you? I've seen some great Echo costumes.
Oh my gosh, it means the world to me. It is so nice to see people on social media putting costumes on and portraying Echo. They'll put the white handprint on their cheek. There's a different variety of artist work that I've seen, paintings and beadwork of Echo. I can't believe how much effort they're putting in of this character of Echo. Oh, it means the world to me. And I feel inspired by them, honestly. I have a lot of communities to advocate for as well, the amputee community, the Indigenous community, and the deaf community, and women out there too. There's so much communities I love representing for, but I'm very proud to be making history and having these moments on this journey.
What did end up, since the show's been out for a while, and I think everyone in the world has seen it, was there a scene or a particular moment that was, the biggest challenge for you, either physically or emotionally?
So any scene with Kingpin or with Vincent, there was a lot of intense emotional scenes. So my days would kind of be moody on those days that we had those scenes, because it's just full of anger and rage that I had to portray. And the scenes are very intense as well. So being emotional was probably one of the most challenging parts of the whole series. Yeah.
How does your dad feel knowing that his daughter is a member of the MCU?
Oh, he was so proud of me. Luckily, before he passed away, he knew that I was going to be involved in Hawkeye. And he was going to be and I was going to be in the MCU. So my dad was so proud of me. He cried tears of joy, and that is rare because he is not a crier. But he is now in heaven watching over me, and I'm so grateful. He's so proud of me. I know it. And now that I'm my own MCU character, it's so crazy to even say that. But yeah, I do wish he was here physically, but I know he's proud of me spiritually, and I know he's always here with me. So yeah.
Obviously, this is such an expansive universe. Is there a particular Marvel character you'd like to see Maya interact with in the future?
I think it's an easy answer for me. I really love Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk. He's from Wisconsin, and he's a huge advocate for Indigenous women. And I feel like we would have such great conversations about all of that if we were on set together. I love the Hulk too as well. So I think that would be amazing to work alongside the Hulk.
I love this. Echo and Hulk. 4 letters each. This lends itself perfectly.
Funny.
And what's up next for you? Are you interested in doing more acting?
Of course, yes, I do want to continue acting. I just really do love being in this career. It's amazing. I get to meet so many new people all the time. I don't know what's next for me at this moment, but hopefully I'll be able to work on Daredevil, alongside, because Maya and Daredevil are in the comic book, but we will see what happens in the future.
Well, again, it's such a fantastic show. On behalf of the whole SAG-AFTRA Foundation, I just want to thank you for being here today, sharing your experiences, processes, and craft with your fellow performer. I can't wait to see more of you.
Oh gosh, no, thank you so much for having me, and thanks again so much.
And go give that dog a belly rub.
I know, seriously.
Give it one for me. Lots of good scritches.
Oh, absolutely. For sure. I'll do that. I got you.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
You too.